the shadows betray you because they belong to me. Hits the sheet out of his sheet and breaks that sheet. And it was at this moment I said, it's official, but Bane is my favorite villain.
Gracias por ver La Esquina de Jody. Thank you for watching Jody's Corner.
YouTube, what's good? It's your boy Jody Joe. Welcome to Jody's Corner. It's Christmas that I'm uploading this for you guys because I know on Christmas a lot of creators aren't creating content. And y'all been waiting for a long time for this. So I thought I'd give it to y'all, man. Shout outs to you guys wherever you guys are across the globe. Hope you guys are having a wonderful off day, weekend, whenever you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, holidays. If you don't celebrate, shout outs to everybody who's watching. This is The Dark Knight Rises review, baby. Yeah. Woo! I got to tell y'all, this has been a long time coming. I'm not gonna waste your time. Let's get right into it. The Dark Knight Rises takes place 8 years after The Dark Knight, as you guys already know. The success of the Harvey Dent Act is apparent to the point where on the 8-year anniversary, Commissioner Gordon is giving this speech at Bruce Wayne's house. Bruce Wayne is physically crippled, cane and everything, shaggy beard, and Commissioner Gordon is giving this speech where he was gonna, let the world know that I'm a fraud. Harvey Dent is a fraud. I'm gonna resign. I'm gonna tell the truth about Harvey Dent. I'm gonna let the whole world know that everything that Batman did was not true as far as what the public believes. Because if we look at The Dark Knight, the public believes that Batman was the one who murdered Harvey Dent, Gotham's White Knight, and they don't know about Harvey Dent's other side. They don't know that Harvey Dent was the actual person who terrorized Jim Gordon's family, kidnapped them, tried to kill his son and all that whatnot. They kept that a secret. And because that Harvey Dent Act was able to go through, thousands of criminals tied to Gotham were able to be refused bail and stay locked up. So basically in The Dark Knight Rises, these streets are clean. Commissioner Gordon has very few things to do. There was even a scene where Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, Robin, told him, when you and Batman clean up the streets, you cleaned them up good. Pretty soon we're going to be tracking down expired library cards. It's fact. So Gordon knew that it's complete. Gotham's safe. Everything is okay. He wrote down pages of his confession, and he was going to tell them at this 8-year anniversary that was taking place at Wayne Manor. But then he decided not to, you know what I'm saying? He was like, maybe that's for another time. Tucked it in his coat. Because he knew that his lie that he had to live with was more important to be kept secret and within himself, as opposed to the positive impact that it's had on Gotham. It's best to keep it secret. So that's cool. So if we look at where Gordon is at, he's a really corrupt. He's not corrupt. His mind is really conflicted, and he feels a heavy amount of guilt to the point where he doesn't even want to be the commissioner anymore. So that gives you guys a mindset of where Commissioner Gordon is at after these 8 years. Batman, Bruce Wayne, he's basically a secluse. He's isolated everybody off. It's just him and Alfred. After Rachel died and gave her life, she got blown up basically by the Joker. Actually, got duped by the Joker. Bruce Wayne went into seclusion, stopped being Batman for 8 years, damage to his needs, cartilage is bad, bad back, bad everything. He's just tore up and he just given up and let Gotham be at peace. You no longer need the Batman. And he was been spending this whole time isolated from the world. The world hasn't really seen much of Bruce Wayne, hasn't seen any of Batman. And that's where he's at. He's depressed, he's sad, he's mopey, he's given up, he hasn't made another life. Even Alfred has even said, you never moved on. You hung up your cape and your cowl and you never moved on. You never created a life outside of it. And that's because he lost his Rachel. Rachel was his life outside of the cowl, and because she died, he lost everything. Michael Caine is still loyal to Batman. That's where we're at. Gotham is peaceful and everything is fine. And then in comes this epic scene. One of the most epic scenes to start off any movie in a superhero franchise is the airplane scene with Bane. That scene is pure gold. I love every minute of it, because the best part about that scene, Littlefinger from Game of Thrones is actually one of the CIA agents, by the way. Once he starts to let Bane's crew on the plane, and once they're airborne, he's like, well, basically the manifest basically clears 2 of you. Being that there's 3 of you, somebody's got to go. And so he begins to take one henchman, with the scare tactic, opens the hatch door to the airplane, says, who are you working for? Where's Bane? Lot of loyalty for a hired gun. Pow! He didn't fly so well. And then you hear it for the first time after waiting. We waited 3.5 years for The Dark Knight Rises to come after The Dark Knight. 3.5 years of anticipation. And we finally heard it. Perhaps he's wondering why someone would shoot a man before throwing him from a plane. Instantly. No one cared about who I was until I put on the mask. If I take that off, will you die? It will be extremely painful. You're a big guy. For you. Those words, I don't care what nobody says about Bane, bro. When I heard those words in IMAX, it's perfect. His voice is perfect. People hate it. People talk about it. I love it. It made me feel scared and invested and terrified and in love. Bane is epic. Tom Hardy as Bane is fantastic in this movie. His presence, the way he walks, the way he carries himself, the voice, Christopher Nolan's fantastic directing. Everything that Tom Hardy does as Bane is incredibly believable. To his stances of him just holding his coat, in silence, just standing there. His presence is felt. Same as Heath Ledger's Joker, in a different way. Heath Ledger's Joker gave off that menacing, like, freaking psycho. Freaking Bane gives off that, who is this dude, bruh? And it's that I love. Tom Hardy as Bane did a fantastic job. Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. J3 thought she was going to be trash. I won that bet. Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. Not Selena Kyle as far as, the Selena Kyle we know from Batman Returns. Michelle Pfeiffer. She ain't that. She wasn't trying to be that. I love Michelle Pfeiffer's Selena Kyle. This was Anne Hathaway's. And I'm perfectly for that because she made her own little thing. I enjoyed it. And in this movie, it shows Catwoman and Batman in their masks as Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne having a moment at a masquerade ball. And I don't know if you guys noticed that, but that was a nod to Batman Returns. In Batman Returns, they went to a masquerade ball and they were dancing close, having a discussion, and then they found out, I remember Michelle, oh my God, you're Batman. Dude, are we supposed to fight? That was dope. And I said, oh snap, Christopher Nolan is throwing a nod to Batman Returns in this scene. It was epic. Seeing Anne Hathaway and Bruce Wayne, Anne Hathaway and Christian Bale do their thing in that masquerade ball dance was nice. A lot of the tale of Two Cities, the novel, is involved with this because there's a lot of quotes of it in there that I caught. That's what's up, though. I will say this. No one will ever be a better Alfred than this man, Michael Caine. Michael Caine's depth, performance, believability, timing, his look, his everything about Michael Caine as Alfred is utterly perfect. He played the father figure to Bruce Wayne because sadly enough in this film, Bruce Wayne felt like he could beat Bane. When he saw Bane on CCTV, when he heard about him coming out of this pit and climbing out of it, being excommunicated from the League of Shadows, it really lit a fire under Bruce Wayne. I can beat him. Michael Caine was that sense of reason. Look at his speed. Look at his ferocity. What's going to happen when you go against him? Because Batman put the cape and the cowl on after 8 years and had a mess of things in the city of Gotham. What did he do? You know, just like Michael Caine says, you put your cape and cowl, you go make a mess of things on television. You get with some new fancy gadgets from Fox. That doesn't make you Batman. That was 8 years ago. That's not you anymore. And Bruce Wayne is like, you don't believe that I have it in me. You didn't believe I had it in me tonight, and you still don't think I could beat him. He said, look at his speed, his ferocity. He's not the same. He's not a couple of henchmen that's just trying to take your money. And I love that Michael Caine was always on him. He gave him so much knowledge and so much heart. He was the father that he had lost. And Bruce Wayne, I don't think he really understood that. This movie was so emotional and so deep. He was like, you didn't find a life after Rachel. He says, Bruce Wayne said, you fear that if I go out there, I'm going to fail. Alfred said, no, I'm not afraid that you'll fail. I'm afraid that you want to. Alfred knew that this Bruce Wayne had nothing left but Batman. He was ready to die. He didn't fear death. Now keep that in mind, because that fear of death is a huge point in why this film is fantastic and what carries the plot. He didn't have the fear of death. He welcomed it. And Alfred felt like, I can't get through to Bruce. I can't get through to him. His body is shot. He's mentally unstable. He's not understanding that he's not the guy he was 8 years ago when he was taking on Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow and Joker. He's not that guy. And Bruce didn't understand he wasn't that guy. He was so obsessed with protecting his city from a possible threat. And that's who Batman is. That's exactly who Batman is. It was the scene where Catwoman said, you don't owe them anything. You've given them everything. He said, no, not everything. Not yet. He was going to give his life. He was willing to give his life to save his city. That is the essence. Even though he doesn't have the martial arts and karate skills that other Batman movies have, like Ben Affleck does. Shout outs to Zack Snyder for making good shots. Christopher Nolan is a terrible action director, and we all know this, but he's my favorite director ever. But I can keep it real. Christian Bale has fallen victim to the lack of Christopher Nolan's ability to direct good combat scenes and action. That's just a fact of the matter. Do I believe Christian Bale could have done it? Absolutely. Come on now. Nolan just doesn't, he prioritizes other things than that. If you ask me, I think Nolan, if he always does action film, he should hire a secondary director to handle certain action scenes and then let them do that. I think that's the best choice that he could ever do. But it's this Batman that I love. This is the Batman that I know. Yeah, he might not fight like, but that's the ideal of who he is. I'm going to protect my city. I'm going to protect my family. I'm going to always do what I started off to do, and that's to fight crime and protect Gotham, even if it takes my life. And Alfred wasn't looking at it from that perspective. He doesn't want him to die. He understood it. He understood why Bruce wanted to give his life for his city. He didn't want it, though, because he knew he deserved better. Alfred knew Bruce deserved better. You deserve that second life. I hid that letter. He hid that letter from Batman. And, Batman didn't know at the time. Bruce didn't know about the letter that Rachel wrote about Harvey Dent, that she chose Harvey Dent over Bruce. Alfred always kept that in the pocket. And it was that he used in order to finally... It was Alfred's last-ditch effort to finally get through to Batman that you're not that guy anymore, and it's not true. You need to move on. And he said, how can I move on, Alfred? Rachel's gone. She was the only thing I had left. I couldn't move on. She couldn't. She didn't move on. And he said, what if I told you that she did move on? That she chose Harvey Dent over you? And to spare your pain, I took that letter and I burnt it because I didn't want you hurt. And this was the most emotional, epic scene between two superior actors, Michael Caine, Christian Bale. And Bruce says, how dare you How dare you use Rachel to stop me? He says, I'm not. I'm using the truth, Master Wayne. It's time we stop trying to outsmart truth and let truth have its day. He says, you think you're going to come here and tear my world down and we're going to shake hands afterward? Alfred says, no, I know what this means. He says, what does it mean? He says, it means that I'm going to be losing a friend and somebody who I've cared for, and since I've heard their cries all over these hallways, it means that I'm losing you. And Bruce said, goodbye, Alfred. He left him. Alfred left Bruce because that's the only thing he had to show him, that he's going too far. This sets up such an amazing emotional scene for me in this film. Everything that Bruce Wayne has gone through in this film in the first hour leads up to this clash that he has with Bane. Because Bruce Wayne, who lost his parents, who lost his fortune in this movie because of Bane, who lost his mother's pearls because of Catwoman, who is being doubted by the city, being doubted by by Alfred, and who has just discovered that the only woman that he ever loved another man who tried to kill a little boy, wrecked his heart. A heartbroken, devastated man, and he still put the cape, he put the cowl on, he met with Catwoman. She was to take him to Bane in the shadows, and this beautiful montage of him running through the sewers, playing the epic Dark Knight Rises music by Hans Zimmer. I'm feeling this shit. The shit is epic and beautiful. And right when he goes through the doors, sorry, but I had to stop them from trying to kill me. Catwoman was afraid of Bane. Batman, you made a serious mistake. And then you hear it again. Not as serious as yours, I fear. Bane, he's just standing there looking boss, head tilted to the back like a straight G. Let's not stand on ceremony here, Mr. Wayne. And then this scene with no music, no background, just two savage, trained people fighting. Batman representing old, Bane representing new. And they went straight to it. No bullshit. I loved this scene so much. They went straight to it. Batman went to work. They just traded blows left and right. All you hear is contact marks. That's all you hear, and you see that once Bane catches his fist, he's victory has defeated you. And then he proceeds to wreck his sheet. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm watching this and I'm like, oh my God, this fool Bane is serious about this business. He's trained. Batman is over the hill. It's like when a player comes back from retirement and tries to go against the hottest player in the NBA. It just doesn't work. Old timer, you're done. And when I seen Bane kick Batman off the ramp, and then he goes on the chains and just uses arms to come down, and all the muscles is coming out from Tom Hardy, and he just goes savage and beats the shit out of him. The quotes in this movie are completely epic. All while Bane is beating the shit and picking apart Batman, he's talking to him, letting him know how he's failed so much. You fight like a young man. Admirable, but mistaken. And he's just like, fuck. Batman using the springing back pillars. Bane doesn't even flinch. Theatricalities easily worked on the uninitiated, but we are initiated. None of that shit worked. He goes dark, turns the lights out. You think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the darkness. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. And by then, to me, it was nothing but blinding. Bow! Caught him. Thought he was slick. Caught the motherfucker. And then he kills him with the back slaps him to the bottom. The lights come on. And he lets him know. The shadows betray you because they belong to me. Hits the sheet out of his sheet and breaks that sheet. And it was at this moment I said, It's official, but Bane is my favorite villain. Like, Heath Ledger's Joker is epic in itself. We already know. But my personal favorite Batman villain in any film is this motherfreaker right here. Because yes, Joker was on that psychopathic level. He was on a mental level. But Bane was on that mental level as well. But he was also giving a physical manifestation to Batman that I'm better than you. And it was that right there that let me know, oh my God. And what solidified his mastermindedness was when he said, I will show you where we have built, and then I will break you. Boom. And then the ceiling falls down and a tumbler comes down from it. Ah, your precious armory. Gladly accepted by the League of Shadows. We will need it. And it shows these goons climbing in this hole, seeing that he found out where all of his armory is at and is taking the Lucius Fox projects, and he's going to use these very same tools to destroy Gotham. It was at that point where Batman was broken. Something that Joker failed to do. And it was verbally manifested when Batman crawled to his feet and Bane was just looking at him. Ah, I was wondering what would break first. Dodges the punch, beats the shit up. Your spirit or your body? Bah! Physically breaks his back. Mentally broke him when he showed him what everything, the plan that they had, what he was gonna do, and physically broke him with that freaking back crack, baby, and sent that motherfreaker to prison. The very same prison that Bane was from. It's this, what happens in here. This prison where Bruce Wayne became Batman again. Because when he fought Bane, he wasn't Batman. He was Bruce Wayne, shagged up in a freaking Batman costume. Just exactly what Alfred told him. Exactly what Alfred said. You got gadgets from Fox and you put on a cape and cowl, you put that thing on your leg and you're not Batman anymore. That was so true. Once he got to the prison, he had to learn exactly what being Batman was. He had to go back to his roots. And he hears this story about this child that escaped. This child that found the courage to escape this hell on earth. To get out of this tunnel and actually make the leap of faith to get out. And Bruce Wayne couldn't believe, how could a child make this climb? He sees people try to get out and fall. Go up and fall, go up and fall. No one has ever gotten out since the child got out. The child of Ra's al Ghul. Bruce can't believe it. These doctors are healing him. He's down there for 6 months. He's healing from his back. He's actually being fed and nourished while it's happening because Bane wants him to see his city burn on the TV. Because what did Bane say? He says, your punishment must be more deliberate. Bruce says, torture? Yes. But not of your body, of your soul. You don't fear death, you welcome it. And that was the punishment he wanted to give Bruce. I'm going to show you, and you're going to watch as your city burns over these next 6 months, and there's nothing you can do about it because you can't get out this hole because I couldn't get out the hole. Because you're not that guy. He basically was pissing on Bruce like, you can't do nothing about it. And he let him know, then when Gotham is ashes, then you have my permission to die. It's this type of dialogue. It's this type of speech. It's the sound of it. It's this type of thing that enthralls me and just reaches deep down and just triggers it. It's a mental stimulant. I get stimulated from shit like this. And Bruce trains. He sees that the Gotham is sealed off. The army's there. If one person steps foot across this bridge, I remember the scene goes to something to the effect of the army came and he says, "How many people you got, son?" He says, "There's a lot of people that try to keep out of Gotham, man. How you plan on keeping them?" He says, "You're right. We don't have enough men, but you do. He says, what the heck is going to make you think we're going to let you help you keep your hostages? If any person crosses any one of these bridges, if this bridge, Gotham gets blown to hell. She was legit. Government couldn't do shit. You got this nuclear bomb that's getting all over the city, so you can't track it. It's always mobile, so you can't target it. It's literally anarchy. As Bruce Wayne is in this hole trying to figure shit out, and he sees people failing, and he learns about who Bane is. Meanwhile, in Gotham, he announces to the world, "Please take control of your city." He tricks them, and he feeds them hope, dangles hope in their face, only to plan to destroy them at the end of it. Traps all of the police underground, keeps them. He says this montage where he says courts will be convened, and it shows people in court. You freaking see freaking Scarecrow up there judging people and shit. Trials will be resumed, spoils will be had. People clubbing and partying, and Catwoman just seeing all this, and it's like the book of Revelation. It's just people are sinning and sinning and sinning. The city is completely destroyed. And I'm not talking about just the foundation. The soul of Gotham is possessed, poisoned, and destroyed. This is success. Bane has actually succeeded in bringing destruction to Gotham the way Joker never could. He got close, but he didn't do it. Bane succeeded where Joker failed. Start by opening Blackgate and freeing the oppressed. The jailers are out. Prisoners got guns and heat running around. Cops are getting murdered. I'll die before I talk. On yours, Colonel. Get the rest of them and hang them. Hanging them, showing the world to see. Special forces. You try to infiltrate Gotham, you're going to be hung. This plan was so well conceived. There were some sloppy points in the plot, sure. But the bigger picture, the overall idea was intact and it was whole. And when Bruce Wayne finally went back to the top to climb with the rope, and he healed and he tried and he reached out and leaped and missed and failed and fell again, he was so baffled. How could a child do this? How could a child do that? And the wise man told him, he says, you cannot make the climb. You lack fear. He says, I don't. He says, you have no fear. He says, I fear my city being burnt. He says, you lack the most manifested thing that all humans need. You lack the fear of death. How can you push yourself further, do things more, when you don't have the fear? The ultimate fear that humans have is dying. So when you have the fear of death, his philosophy is, how can a human achieve the next level? How can you strive for that extra inch of greatness? How can you want to be more when you know the consequences aren't really there because you don't care about dying? So a person who has the fear would actually do more, push harder because they don't want to die. And he says, well, how do I do it? How do I escape? He said, make the climb. Bruce Wayne is like, oh my God. He says, as the child did without the rope. Bruce knew he had to make that climb. And as he proceeded to make the climb out of the pit, it's my single most tingly, epic moment in this whole entire film. When they play that native chant, they go, he, ha, he, ha, whatever the heck they say. And they play that score, and it shows him climbing, and then the manifestation of him actually jumping across and actually making it out of that pit, and they cheer, yeah, he made it. Sure, the extras didn't have such emotion on their face when they got panned over. There's one tall, lanky guy in the back, like, yeah, you could tell. I think they should have took another shot, and Nolan should have said, everybody cheer loudly like you just won $10 million. And then he would have got the reaction from them people that I really wanted, the way I felt it. I wanted that from those extras, but they didn't do it. But it still felt great. And it plays the and he gets to the top and the camera pans up and he looks at the horizon. He's out that motherfucker, baby, because fear found him again. Make the climb without the rope and fear will find you again. He found fear. He remembers what it's like to fear death. He's Batman now. He has the motivation, the stimulation to be everything that he was. Maybe not so much what he chose to be. Because what happens to an athlete who refuses to train? What happens to an athlete who doesn't want to strive to be greater than that athlete that is better than him? What happens when they just don't care anymore? They start to train less. They start to wither away. They start to get weaker. They start to get sick. Maybe their knees will start to hurt because the lack of effort and passion is not there. The lack of it is apparent. If it's not there, if you don't use it, you'll lose it type of situation. It's a fact. If you sit down in a wheelchair and you sit on your butt for 8 years, and you don't get out that wheelchair, if you just get up every week to get up and go take a poop or whatever, your legs will wither. Your muscle will deteriorate. Your bones will hurt. I believe that is an underlying element to why Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne deteriorated the way he did. The no cartilage in the bones, the weakness of the bones, the pain, the back, the hump, the hunch, the slouch. All of that is because he stopped being Batman. He stopped fighting the good fight. Even when Gotham was at peace, he stopped being like Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon was exactly who Batman should have been. After the peace treaty and all that happened, Commissioner Gordon was still out there in the streets. He was still out there trying to get stuff done because Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Robin, alluded to it on the rooftop when he saw Gordon at the bat signal. He says, when you clean up the streets, you clean them up good. We're going to be chasing people with library cards. But here you are still up here like we're still at war. You got something you want to ask me, son? That's what Batman should have did. Instead of hanging up his cowl and going away into darkness and giving up his body and soul, he should have did what Commissioner Gordon did. Stay alert. Stay at the forefront. Stay on top of your game. And then he would have never had this problem. And he lost sight of that. And that's exactly why I believe his body deteriorated the way it did. And when he got his sheet back, and I swear, when Commissioner Gordon got caught by the mole, and they were in court, and he was like, well, death or exile. If you think we're going onto that ice willingly, you've got another thing coming. Death, then. Looks that way. Fine. Death by exile. Fuck. So when they hit the ice and you see this thing that he picks up, it's a flare. Light it up. And he lights it up, and then it puts the bat sign on the cement, and it plays the song. Dun, dun, and Bane can see this in the window. Impossible. Bane couldn't fathom that Bruce Wayne as Batman has returned, because he's not the one that got out the pit. We understand that was trash Talia al Ghul. I'll get to her in a minute. It's a psychological and physical duo between Bane and Batman throughout this whole entire film. Bane is at war with himself for his own personal reasons, and he's trying to accomplish his mission. Batman is at war with himself and his own personal demons, trying to accomplish his mission, get out the freaking pit and save the city. It's really well done, and it's a beautiful story. And the fact that Catwoman keeps betraying him, and Bruce says, help me one more time, and she's like, you crazy for trusting me. And when it all goes down and they let the cops out of the city, and the criminals are there. And I remember when he gathered up the troops and he was like, where's Foley, dang it? And he goes to his house. He knocks on the door. Jim Gordon knocks on the sheet. Wife answers. You like your wife answer the door? He's like, oh, he's scared, he's shriveled, he's like, you don't know that's gonna happen. You know the bomb's gonna go off, man. He was like, man, what about when people try to put a 22 on us every time we turn our back by a gangbanger? He was like, man, that was different and you know it. He was like, you're a coward. You're a coward. You need to be out there with the rest of us and shit. And then later when you see him in his, suit and all that, it's pretty nice. It was a nice symbol. Like, he said, these are our streets. We're the police around here. We're not gonna be back down. So you see these cops are marching towards these thugs who have freaking tumblers and rockets and missiles and guns. And they're actually marching to suicide for most of them. They're going to their death. And here was this man who was considered a coward at the front of the line. So he knew he was going to give his life for what he believed in. And that's brave and that was epic to me. But when Batman flew down and shot that tank, it made the cops happy. He was like, oh, it's on, nigga. They all running and shit. And then they clash. They have that war. Catwoman hears it. She blows up the tunnel. She's fighting if she should help or just run out the city like she said she would. And then you see it. You've come to claim your city. He's like, no, I came to stop you. And then they go at it, bam, bam. And they show them doing a little shit. Bane's mopping them up again. But it was this knowledge as they're fighting and Bane is still doing his thing. Bruce, there's something different about this Batman. Because there was a physical manifestation where, catch the fist again. Remember the whole fist catch that happened? Oh, victory has defeated you. They did it again. Nolan put that same thing in again. Batman punched and Bane caught it. And Bane had this look on his face. And then he was doing it. And then Bruce said, ugh. Bane was like, this nigga, what the freak? I just caught your fist an hour ago. He's fighting back. Bane can't do it again. And Bruce is like, he's screaming, ah, and Bane's like, what the freak, what the heck is going on? And it happens. Knowing that Bane's pain is in the mask, Batman being smart enough to target the mask, he starts to hit it. You can hear the metal ding, ding, ding. And then he hits with a reverse, so his little bat things scrape his mask and cut it. And you can hear the shit. I'm like, oh my God, I just saw this invincible man. As a viewer, I'm like, this invincible man, Bane, who cannot be hurt, just got hurt. It's shocking. It shocked the heck out of me. And I'm seeing Bane he's trying to piece it together. And the gangster that he is, he's still fighting off Batman like, the freak Batman. And it's dope. And it shows him, the fight sequence was nice in that little split second, where he's doing his thing. He's punching the pole, the sheet is falling down. He's trying to get Batman. Batman's like, nigga, what? Bop, bop, what? Bop, mixing him up, hit him with a little bing, bing, bop. Kick that fool through the glass, blah. That fool said, where is it? Henchman comes up to him with a shotgun. He gets him out of there quick. Bop, bitch. He's like, where is it? Hold the door. Tells Talia, hold the door. He's like, where is it? You won't give it to our son. Where is it? And that shit was funny when he said that. But when he looked at him and he held him up, he says, where's the trigger? He says, then you have my permission to die. Oh, it was sweet. That was so sweet. And then we get the whole bullshit. He was like, how did you come back? I broke you. He says, you think you're the only one who thinks you can find the will to escape? Where's the trigger? He says, but I never escaped. He was like, but the child of Ra's al Ghul made the climb. And then you hear, but he's not the child of Ra's al Ghul. I am. So Talia betrays him, somebody that Bruce Wayne had affection for. And that whole bullshit. She's like, oh my God, what's happening? He says, yeah, I'm the child, Ra's and this and all, the whole story that you know about. So Catwoman comes and destroys Bane. Talia goes over there on the goose chase. Batman continues to do his Batman thing, takes the bomb out, sacrifices his life, saves the day. As far as we know, Batman is giving his life. But when he told that, he said, Commissioner Gordon said, who are you? You don't want the world to know who saved them? He said, it doesn't matter. It's something as simple as when a little boy putting a coat around a little boy, he thought he just lost it all. And then he figured out, oh, Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne. That was epic. This trilogy was tied up in a bow. This is a complete trilogy. There's so many trilogies that are not closed. Christopher Nolan knew he was making 3 films, and he made 3 films. This is one of the most complete trilogies I've ever seen. It's a trilogy, and it's done. Open, in, closed, game. That's what this is, and I respect it. I love it. This review has gone way longer than I expected. The next ones they gotta be shorter. I'm just too passionate about this review. I'm sorry. But after it was all said and done, and Lucius Fox found out that there was an autopilot fix and it was by Bruce Wayne, he instantly knew Bruce Wayne was alive. So after Alfred cried at his grave, which was emotional and powerful as always, it was really emotional. He was like, I failed you and all that. And after a couple weeks or months went by, he goes to have his little Irish yanker or whatever he calls it, Irish branca at the cafe. And then he looks up and he sees the riff plays, the Dark Knight Rises theme song plays. And then Bruce Wayne's holding up the cup. No words are spoken to me, none to you. But we both knew that you've made it. Catwoman is there with him. Selena with the mother's pearls on her neck. What a beautiful scene. And then Bruce Wayne leaves in the will. He leaves something for Blake, Robin. In the will, he goes to pick it up, and then it's a bag. And it's a bag with his radio. It's a bag with his GPS coordinates. So basically, Bruce Wayne left Robin to helm the city, to find the Batcave, and to find his own calling. So he can be the next Batman, or whatever he wanted to be. So that was nice. He left that for him, and that's a beautiful passing of the torch. Robin, the whole him being Robin should have been taken out. It was nice to hear it, though, but it should have been taken out. But overall, every single last person, including Joseph Gordon-Levitt, was amazing in this film. I remember on the bridge, he was like, you idiots, you killed us. That was great. The one person that should have been deleted from this film and who is utter trash in every movie I've seen her in is Marion Cotillard. She is not a good actress. She ruined a lot of this film. Every scene that she was in on this film, I cringed so much. She is a terrible actress. I do not understand the hype around her. She's terrible. Her look wasn't good. Her acting wasn't good. The worst death I've seen in a film was Marion Cotillard's Talia. Be careful, because you've all lost. We win. What the freak is that? Trash. Marion Cotillard as Talia is trash. She was not on that beautiful level. She ain't attractive to me, but that's in the eye of the beholder. Talia is a menacing, sexy, savage karate motherfreaker by herself, and she was relegated to something completely different in this trilogy. Freak that shit. I would forgive all that if she was actually a good actor. She got outshined by everybody else in this film. She's whack. So I just got to say that at the end of it. But in order to give this movie a grade, I give The Dark Knight Rises an A+. Perfect. Perfect. Yo, win. Easy A+ for me, Jack. I love this film. This is the greatest film in the trilogy. Come at me, bruh. I said it. I personally love The Dark Knight Rises more than The Dark Knight. Come at me, bruh. Both of them are A+. I reviewed The Dark Knight. It's on my channel now. Both of them are A+. But this film is just it's I almost have to call it a guilty pleasure because the rest of the world just doesn't see what I see in this film. Well, some people do. But for the most part, the majority, they just don't. I don't think they understand it or didn't feel what I felt. It's just different. I love The Dark Knight Rises. It's better than The Dark Knight. For me, it's better. This is my channel. It's where I feel. Freak you. That's a fact. Subscribe to the channel for more content. I'm Jody Joe, and I'm out this thing, man. Deuces.